What's going on, guys? One lover to everybody. We got UFC 284, Makhachev versus Volkanovski. Predictions, breakdown, guys. Before I get started, subscribe to this channel. Also hit the thumbs up button to get these videos out. Also, check out my Patreon account for all the face-off predictions and prop plays. You can also donate to this channel to my PayPal account also, okay? Let's jump into this real quick, guys. Couple double-header fights here. It's a big card, pay-per-view card. Starts at 6 p.m., so I'm still early. Makhachev and Volkanovski. Volkanovski is moving up in weight to challenge Islam, right? So it's going to be a good fight. We also have Yair Rodrigues and Josh Emmett. Going to be for that interim championship belt there, right, at 145, because Alexander Volkanovski is just moving up, so... yeah, so we got some good fights here. This card's a tough card, guys, to be honest with you. I mean, it seems, even by looking at it, it seems straightforward, right? But it's a tough card, though. You're going to be over there in Australia, so we have a lot of guys from Australia who's fighting on this card. Obviously, right? So, yeah, it's a tough card. I'm not sure about this card at all, man, to be honest with you. A lot of 50-50s here. We're going to take a look at the odds afterwards. But first fight here, we're going to jump into this real quick. We'll knock this out. We have Zubaira Tukhugov versus Elvis Brenner. I believe it's a short notice for Elvis here. All right. It's supposed to be Joel Alvarez. So this fight here, man, Zubaira here is a very skilled guy, man, very well rounded, strong wrestling base. Doesn't compete much, but he's pretty technical though. When he's coming forward and put a forward pressure on you, that is where it's very, very dangerous. When he's going on the back foot, he doesn't do too well. So if he comes forward on you, he's very dangerous. Yes, this guy's pretty skilled all around, man. Kind of like a Khabib kind of style, if you want to say. I mean, he's fighting out of Russia too. So his opponent here, Elvis, short notice for him. Looks like he trains with Oliveira. His name is Oliveira, so it could be Oliveira cousin or something like that, or I don't know, brother or something. Not much striking from him. He seems to want the ground much. He wants to ground a lot. He has 11 by submission, so this is a guy that's going to chase the ground game. Will throw the hands, but he more look for the ground. Kind of, from what I've seen from him, he's kind of greenish, kind of. But like I said, he trains with Oliveira there, right? So, yeah, I'm going to go with Zubaira for the win here. I'm going to say Zubaira by KO TKO in the first round, and it's a confident play for me. This is probably the only confident fight, maybe. But for Elvis to win this fight, he's going to need maybe a submission, which is possible. Like I said, he trains with Oliveira. So, you know what I mean? And his name is Oliveira, actually. If I'm not, yeah. Elvis Oliveira. So, like I said, it could be his cousin or something like that. Yeah, so... yeah, so next fight here, guys. We got Blake Bilder versus Shane Young. By looking at Blake Bilder here, man, he came off the Contender Series. It's not too bad, man. Very slick with the striking, kind of sneaky with his combination, his movements. Can get hurt or knocked down from what I've seen, but he's composed when he comes back in the fight. Let me see. He looks for the submissions though, mostly. And he gets stronger as the fight goes on. So I look at this guy maybe like a slow starter. And then from what I've seen, and then, you know, second, third round, he's a complete different fighter. Like he has more energy than he did in the first. And he's high volume. Like I said, he's a slow starter, but as the fight goes on, he's high, very high volume. And he seems like a very smart fighter, like a good fight IQ. His opponent here, which you guys know, Shane Young. Shane Young, last time you see him was in 2021 against Omar Morales. Like I said, I'm going to talk about these fighters, but it's not a disrespect. It's just me explaining the guy's skill set. You know, I mean, I have to explain that because I'm breaking on the guy. So it's not like me picking on the person or favoriting, but I'm not favoriting any fighters here. I'm just breaking him down. Fight IQ wise, I don't think he has the best fight IQ in my opinion. Straightforward pressure, very aggressive, but doesn't throw enough. So he's low volume. He fights the same way all the time. He's gonna have a 4-inch reach and could have the bigger frame here, but not enough volume from him though. I mean, he's a heavy hitter, but he doesn't throw much. Can get scrambled on and can get reversed on. Yeah, so like I said, he's training out the other city kickboxing. I mean, you guys know Shane Young. I mean, been in a couple fights here. I mean, like I said, man, he's just not the best fight IQ, not much volume, doesn't throw much. So I'm gonna go with Bilder here. I know Bilder making his debut here, coming from Contender Series, and you know sometimes guys coming from Contender Series don't do too well. You know, especially also he's undefeated, so they don't usually do too well. They usually lose, their debut fight when they get to UFC. But I'm gonna go with Bilder here, man. I'm gonna take a little chance here. I'm gonna say Blake Bilder by decision, guys, and I'm not confident in that one. It's a 50-50 because Shane Young could come in here kind of different. He hasn't fought since 2021, so he may have worked on different things, but every fight I've seen, seeing Shane in, he fights the same way. Yeah, so Bilder by decision, not confident. It's 50-50 fight, guys. Next fight here, we have Loma Lookboonmee versus Elise Reed. Loma here is a very technical fighter, Muay Thai stylist. She will look for the sweeps too in the clinch, and she also go for takedowns. But she's pretty well rounded, and her Muay Thai is pretty good, but it's not stationary though. She bounces in and out. She uses footwork, right? Her opponent here, Elise Reed, is more of a karate baser, very physically strong woman. She packed power, but she's hittable, and she can get taken down, and she has holes, you know what I mean? And there is sometimes it seems like, like the last fight here against Melissa Martinez, she did pretty good in that fight. And, she landed some good shots and everything like that. But against Sam Hughes, didn't look too good. It's like she's on and off. She's on and off, on and off, on and off. You know what I mean? Against Yumbach, she got ground and pony real quick. Corey McKenna was a kind of a close fight. I mean, like I said, this woman here, she could maybe have a bigger frame in a kind of way. Maybe could be physically stronger. But I just feel like that Loma, her technique, her accuracy, her takedown sweeps, she should be able to win this fight. So I'm going to go with Loma here for the win, and I'm not confident in this one at all either, man. I'm going to say Loma by decision, but this is 50-50, man. So be very careful because, like I said, Elise Reed is physically strong, and she does have a power. She does have a striking base, You just never know, man. So I'm not confident. 50-50 fight. I'll go with Loma by decision. I'm not confident. So we got Jack Jenkins versus Don Shainis. Jack Jenkins came off the Contender Series, which he got a win there. Ground and pound, third. What I see from Jenkins here, he would look for takedowns. We'll throw combinations with the hands and everything like that, but he seems hittable, and he can get taken down also. And I just see holes in him. With his opponent here, Dan Shainis. Dan Shainis just came straight into UFC and fought Sadiq Youssef. You guys remember that fight? And he took that fight at short notice, very very short notice, and I believe he had to put on a whole. I believe he had to drop weight, and just drop a whole lot of weight. And he just went in there straightforward and just got, believe he got guillotined. He got yeah, he got a guillotine choke snapped on him, right? With Dan here, Dan will look for takedowns too. Kind of a wild dude, but he's heavy-handed. But he's game though, and he will let the hands go. And I feel with Dan here, I feel like he may be a little more experienced here, and yeah, I feel like he's a little more experienced. And also fought in the UFC already, and I just feel that I just feel with Jack Jenkins, I feel like he's more hittable. You know what I mean? And I feel like he could drop the ball. So I'm just going to go with Dan here. I'm not sure about this one either, guys. It's a 50-50 for me. But I just feel like Dan can win this fight. So I'm just going to go with Dan here, guys. And I'm going to say Dan by KO TKO in the first round. But I'm not confident. Alright. Next fight here. We have Jamie Mullarkey versus Francisco Pardo. Jamie Mullarkey, man, this guy's a pretty good fighter. You know, I know I mentioned Jamie before, and you know I'm kind of high on Jamie. You know, I mean, he lost to Jalen Turner here. The Faraz Zaim was like that fight was a robbery, and Brad Riddle was a robbery too. So he got robbed twice. Jalen Turner is a very tough guy to fight, but Jamie's a good fighter, man. Very skilled guy, very experienced. Will go for takedown, has a wrestling base. He's mentally, physically tough guy. His opponent here, Francisco Pardo. Pardo, he's pretty wild dude, man. It's a short notice fight for him too. He's a wild dude, aggressive. Seems well rounded, but you know he seems very green also. From what I see from Pardo, he's very hittable. Can get taken down. You know, Jamie should win this fight. So I'm gonna go with Jamie here, and I'm gonna say Jamie by KO TKO in the first round, and I'm confident in this play, guys. All right. Next fight here. That's two confidence I gave you there, guys. First fight and Jamie fight. So see what happens with that. Next fight here we got Kleydson Rodrigues versus Shannon Ross. This is a tough one here, man. It's the next 50-50 here, guys. Rodrigues here, very explosive, can go from 0 to 100 real quick. He's very durable dude. Heavy knees, good kicks. Mostly a kicker here, but he will also throw the punches. Very unorthodox kicking techniques. He mixed up very well. Will also go for takedowns too. His opponent here, Shannon Ross, came off the Contender Series, which he lost that fight. Right, believe he had appendicitis when he actually fought that fight, so he wasn't really feeling well. Right, lost by punches here, second round. With Ross here, man, he can get hurt in the foot and get knocked down, get flash knockdowns. Right, he would let the hands go and he would look for on the knockout. Very heavy hitter with the hands. Would also look for takedowns too. This fight here, man, it's a very tricky one. Because if you see with Rodrigues is very explosive, and you know he could gas himself out if he doesn't pace himself. Like his last fight here where he had against CJ, you know what I mean? He was doing good, you know, but he gassed himself out. He's throwing too many wild techniques, you know. He didn't pace himself well, you know. Shannon Ross will pace himself, so it's a fight where you know you gotta be careful. Now I feel like with Rodrigues, he has the tools to beat Shannon, and he has the power to like hurt him, like at any time. You know what I'm saying? But again, really pace himself. So this was a 50-50 for me. But I'm gonna go with Rodrigues here, guys. I'm gonna say with Rodrigues by KO TKO in the first round, but I'm not confident. So be careful with this one. 50-50. Next fight here, guys, we got Josh Culibao versus Melsik Badahazwaran. I know I mispronounced that, but it sounds right though. Joshua here. I'm kind of high on Joshua, man. He's a pretty good fighter. He's pretty good with his boxing, man. His movement is good. His ground game is good. His defense is good. His timing is good. He's going to have the 3-inch of reach here. He's a skilled guy, very well rounded, and he got hands. And he's kind of relaxed with it and flows and look for the openings and land the technique. His opponent here, Melzik. Melzik is a kickboxing fighter here, coming from kickboxing and boxing also. Very technical guy. Mostly a kicker here, especially his head kick. I mean, he got skills and he also throw the hands. But I feel that his opponent here, Joshua, has, in my opinion, has better hands. But with Melzik, he will gas out though, man. And he doesn't fight much. He's not active. And he will gas out. He's not as active as in MMA. You know what I mean? So he's kind of getting into MMA here. I feel Joshua, has been doing it and is kind of more experienced in MMA. But Melzik has a kickboxing background. So he is still skilled with the kickboxing. But I just feel like Joshua is more well-rounded here. And with Melzik, he can get taken down and he gasses out, man. And when he gasses out, you could tell. He shows it. I'm going to go with Joshua here. I'm going to say Joshua by decision. But I'm not confident because, like I said, Melzik is a pretty good striker, man. And this fight, most likely going to be a striking match. But Joshua doesn't even have to make it a striking match because Joshua could go for takedowns. So Joshua by decision, guys. Not confident. Next fight here, we have Tyson Pedro versus Modestas Bukauskas. Remember, Modesta here blew out his knee when he fought Keller Roundtree, which his knee was already bad. So that's the reason why you see when he stumped his knee, or the side kick to the knee, to the side of the leg, it just gave out. Crumbled on him because he had already meniscus and ACL and all type of damage already in it. So so he went to Cage Warriors and got 2 more wins there and came back to the UFC. Did it real quick too, like less than a year or so, and he's back. So this guy is very motivated, man, and physically and mentally tough guy, man. So his opponent here, Pedro. You guys remember Tyson Pedro, though? Pedro also had similar problems with his knees, but Pedro's last fight, until he got his 2 wins here recently in 2022 against Araujo here, 218, he didn't come back until 2022, so it's almost like 4 years he's been out, right? So he looks good. I believe he went up in weight, 205. I believe Araujo fight, actually, hold on there. He used to fight at 185, right? He was always at 205? I guess he was always at, okay, he was always at 205. Okay, I thought it was at 180. Okay, so he was always at 205 then. Okay. Pedro here was more known for the ground game. You notice all his submission wins, but then he came back, had some better striking here. You know what I'm saying? Striking looks kind of good. Got his 2 win over Harry, Handsucker and Ike. You know what I'm saying? So he's looking kind of good, but the guys that he's beating here is not really any top-level fighters, right? And he finished him in the first round here. With Modesta here, Modesta more of a karate base, in and out motion, is well-rounded. He's hittable though and can get knocked out, man. Doesn't handle pressure too well. But from his last Cage Warrior fights, he looks pretty good. This fight is a tough one here, man. You can't really be too certain about either of these guys here, especially Pedro, man, because, like I said, it all depends on who you're competing against. You know what I'm saying? And it's just... Pedro is known for the ground, but he's knocking people out now, so it's like a tough one here. Could Pedro win this fight? Sure, if you put the pressure, but then with Modesto, his movement is not bad, and like I said, he will slip the punches and move in a circular motion, move in a lateral motion, but he can still get a hit. I'm gonna go with Modesto here, guys. I feel Modesto has more tools on the stand-up, and his takedown defense is not bad, and he has, in my opinion, I feel like he has better striking. He's more technical with striking, right? Pedro is more known for the ground, you know what I'm saying? And I feel the caliber fighters that Pedro fought never really give him any resistance at all. It's kind of hard, to kind of judge him in these 2 fights. At least with Modesto, the guys that he fought was giving him a little bit of pressure. know what I'm saying? A little bit of resistance. Lee Chadwell from Bellator, this guy is known. Chuck Campbell, not so much, but you know, he's a big guy with a long reach like Pedro. And then he put him away in the fourth. And then he, you know, with Modesto, he went rounds. He went to a decision. He went all the way to fourth. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Modesto here. I'm gonna say Modesto by KO TKO in the second round, but I'm not confident because Pedro could win. He could come in and get a win. And like I said, with Modesto, he would drop the ball. But Pedro will also drop the ball too. So it all depends on the matchup, man. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gonna go with Modesto. I'm gonna say Modesto by KO TKO in the second round. I'm not confident. 50-55. Next fight here, we got Jimmy Crute versus Alonzo Menifield Alexandra. Jimmy Crute here, man. He's a well-rounded guy, but he's been up and down, man. You know what I'm saying? Coming off of his last fights, his last two fights were he's not too good. Against Jamal Hill, got finished real quick with a counter, right hook. Anthony Smith, I believe his nerves in his leg went out, right? And yeah, it just hasn't been looking good. His opponent here, Alonzo been winning. He's been fighting. His last two fights he won. He finished by a crucifix elbow by knockouts. Yeah, I mean the William Knight fight, I feel like Alonzo won that fight. It's kind of close though. Alonzo's a heavy hitter, man. He will look for takedowns. He will look for the wrestler, double legs, single legs. And you know what I'm saying, he has been improving. You know, his skill set has been getting better. And he's been active. You know, Jimmy Crute has been out. You know, after he got that knockout, you know, he lost to Jamal Hill. You know, he hasn't come back. Damn, he's been out for a while. He ain't come back until now. So, yeah, almost like 2 years out, almost. About. Yeah, it's the next tough one here. I mean, Jimmy Crute, he will throw the hands heavy-handed, but man, I just feel like he's so explosive and he can get tired, he gasses out. But Alonzo Menifield can get tired too, but he's shown that, you know, he's been pacing himself better. I see more from Alonzo right now than I do from Jimmy Crute, man. I mean, that's just what it is. It's just, I mean, Jimmy Crute is like, you know, he gets tired. You know, even again, so when he fought who's the guy he fought? Was it Sharonov? Yeah, when he fought Misha Sharonov, he got tired in that fight. Just kind of shelled up on his knees, and he got, you know, a submission, right? So he lost by submission. So I don't know. I'm gonna go with Alonzo Menifield here. I'm gonna say Alonzo Menifield by KO TKO in the first round, guys. But I'm not confident because I said Jimmy Crute is a very tough dude, man, and Jimmy Crute will look for submission on you, and has power too. But Alonzo also got the power, man. And I will see from when he fought Jamal Hill. You know what I mean? He just got knocked out. You know, it just all depends on the matchup. But I'm gonna go with Alonzo KO TKO in first round. I'm not confident. Next fighter, we got Justin Tafa versus Parker Porter. Tafa is heavy-handed guy, brawler, straightforward pressure. This fight here, man, guys, a toss-up. I mean, Harry Handsucker, like these guys, Harry Handsucker and Gerard Vander, these guys are not really high-level fighters. You know, it's kind of hard to break these guys down. You know what I'm saying? Parker Porter is more of a rounded guy. He faced tougher competition. You know what I'm saying? Than what Tafa has faced. So I mean, he even fought John Jones way back. So I mean, yeah, Tafa could come in here and knock out Porter, but Porter's a skilled guy, and Porter will look for takedowns, and Porter will mix it up. And Porter actually has good endurance. He can go long. He can go a long distance. His last 2 wins here was by decision. His last three fights were by decision. You know what I mean? So I mean, and he has power. You know, Justin Tafa doesn't really pace himself too well, and he explodes. You know, he and I said he could get a knockout, but I'm gonna go with Porter here, man. I'm gonna say Porter by decision, but I'm not confident, guys. 50-50. This is one of these barn burner fights. All right. Next fight, we got Randy Brown versus Jack Della Mandela. This is a tough card, man. This fight here, man. I did some. A lot of these fights I have to dig deep, watch a lot of footages, man. And you know, it's Randy Brown here, man, has improved a lot. After his fight against Vincent Lecue, he has improved a lot, man. He keep improving, he keep growing and improving, and you can see it. Every fight he get better. He's gonna have the 5-inch reach and 4-inch of height, which is massive, man. Brown has improved. I'm reading from my notes here, guys. He fights long, and he's fighting better at long range now. You know what I mean? He's using his reach better. You know what I'm saying? He pick his shots, stay at a distance, look for the opening, kind of slip the punches and counter, and use his footwork. So he doesn't look bad. You know, he's coming into himself right at this moment, right? He can be hittable though if he freezes and kind of like stay in range. You could hit him, or if he ducks his head down too much, you can catch him and knock him down. So he can get hurt and get flash knockdowns and then hit the ground. But if he stays long range and keep moving, it's hard to beat this guy, right? He's like on his back foot, but he's throwing his jab and he's cutting in corners. He's like moving at an angle, all right? And he has a ground game, and he look for submissions. And like I said, man, he has improved a lot. He has improved a lot, and he shows it. You know, against Chaos Williams, guys who have mad power that are supposed to knock him out, and the Gooden guys, Alex Oliveira's, even Francisco Tronaldo, who has power supposed to knock him out, hasn't. You know, he's pulling off the wins. No, Jack no is the next fighter now who's pretty well-rounded guy. Has a ground game, more boxing base, very good with the hands. Sometimes he sits down though. He does move in and out, but he tends to be heavy on that front leg. He will work the head and then go to the body. So he works a lot of body shots here, but can get flat-footed. No, the body shots is very dangerous when, you know, for Brown, because Brown get hit to the body, he could get knocked out by a body shot. You know what I mean? So Jack possessed those boxing, but then it's the reach advantage here, and Randy Brown has seen Jack before. He has fought a lot of guys who are like Jack, basically. I'm not sure if Jack has faced anybody like Brown though, with that reach and that movement. And like I said, man, this is a tough one, because if Brown freezes up and staying in the range of where Jack won a box, you know, Jack could pull off a win just by working the body or just by knocking him out, just being in the boxing range and pocketing that phone booth style. So Brown has to keep moving in this fight. And the good thing about this fight here, it's a bigger cage. Vincent Lecue fight was a smaller cage. So Randy Brown got more room to move. All right. I was kind of going for Jack here, man, in the beginning. When I saw this fight, I'm like, oh, Jack. You know, that's the thing about these. When you're looking at fights and you're predicting fights, a lot of people will see it and go, oh, Jack is going to win. Because you just remember, you know, Jack boxing is very dominant, to be knocking out everybody. You know what I mean? Not everybody, but, you know, Danny Roberts and Ramiz here, some guy named Peter Rodriguez. But it's just, he doesn't have the experience like what Randy Brown has. Randy Brown faced a lot of Jacks before, and he beat them. So, man, can Jack win? Definitely. Jack can knock out Brown, man. Believe me. And that's why I was going for Jack, because I remember what Jack was doing, and I remember what Brown used to do back in the days. But that Brown back in the days ain't the same Brown. But just never know, man. You could just show up, you know, being that old school Brown from back in the days and just kind of shell up. And then Jack does work the body, work the head, work the body, and knock him out. Or just put that mad pressure on him. But then we see Randy, you know, against these other fighters here, like the Alex and the Francisco Tronaldo and Chaos, who've been pressure, and Randy just lateral movement, and and countering, and then the jab is out there. He's using his reach good, hitting them with the jab. You know what I mean? Even clinching up and throwing knees, pushing off. I'm gonna go with Randy Brown here, guys. This card here, guys, I'm not sure about it, to be honest. I'm not confident in majority of these fights, to be honest. So I mean, but I'm just going off of what I feel, and from my homework from breaking on the fights. So I could be wrong, man. Being honest with you. So nothing guaranteed, man. So whatever you're doing, play at your own risk. I'm just giving you a warning. I'm gonna go with Randy Brown here, man. I'm gonna say Randy Brown by decision, but I'm not confident because, like I said, when I saw this fight, I was going for Jack until I started watching footages all over again, and I see sometimes Jack gets stationary, man, and his head is there to get hit, his face is there to get hit. And if Randy Brown is doing what he does in his last 3 fights, Randy Brown will win the fight. If Randy Brown is doing what he did with Vincent LeCue, then he will lose. So it all depends on what Randy Brown shows up. But I've got Randy Brown by decision. I'm not confident. 50-50. Next fighter, we got Yair Rodriguez versus Josh Emmett. Yair Rodriguez, Taekwondo base, very athletic guy, quick, 5 inch of height. The reach is pretty much the same. Yair Rodriguez is a good fighter, man, but he's not very active though. He hasn't been fighting much. And when he fights these 5-round fights, he tend not to do too well. Even against the Zombie here, he was losing until he got a spinning elbow, which was an amazing fight because that's the way how it ended. He was losing, and in the last couple seconds, he just he pulled off the knockout. But he doesn't do too good in these 5-round fights. I don't know. This is a tough one to call. I mean, he has his skills, but he tends to kind of fade as the fight goes on, right? I feel with Josh Emmett, he can keep that pace more. He can keep that long distance pace. Technical, very technical, very well-rounded, has a wrestling base, and he's a heavy hitter. I just feel like Josh has been more active and can keep that pace, even though Yair has a kicking ability, and the flash, but distancing, man. And like I said, the fight doesn't even have to go the distance. Yair Rodriguez could finish the fight real quick by a knockout. Very, very true. But Josh Emmett is a very solid fighter, man. He's a very solid guy, man. I'm gonna go with Josh Emmett here, guys. And I'm gonna say Josh Emmett by decision. But this one's a 50-50 for me. So, because like I said, with Yair Rodriguez, he could, hit him with that one-hitter quitter. It's possible. We did see Josh Emmett, hasn't been knocked out much. I don't believe. I guess Jeremy Stevenson by a punch, but I believe there's something happened there. It was like something that Jeremy Stevenson did in that fight. I forgot. But yeah, he's a guy that's very durable, man. I'm gonna go with Josh Emmett here. I'm gonna say Josh Emmett by decision. 50-50. I'm not confident. Main fight on the card here, guys. We got Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski. Islam is just a very dominant guy, man, especially on the ground. I mean, he doesn't even have to lock in. I mean, he did a choke there. What the choke was against Drew Dober, triangle choke, right? It was an arm triangle choke, but the arm wasn't like all the way over the neck. He just pushed his shoulder down into Drew Dober's neck and just choked him with his shoulder. That's how much power he has on the choke. That's how much power he has just putting his body in and then squeezing. His squeeze, I should say, is very, very strong. And his striking has improved. He looks good everywhere. This guy is pretty dominant, man. I mean, Charles Oliveira, he beat Charles standing up, knocked him down, and then he submitted him. You know what I mean? Bobby Green, the same thing too. Like, he just dominant everywhere. Alexander Volkanovski is a very dominant guy too, very experienced, 145 champ, skilled everywhere, mentally, physically tough guy. Almost got submitted. by Brian Ortega. You know what I'm saying? He almost got finished. Triangle choke and by a triangle choke and a guillotine. Almost got him. He was pretty much almost out. And then he popped out of it and pulled off the win. Do you want to tell about this fight, maybe? I mean, Alexander's a tough dude, and yeah, I'm saying, yeah, he could come in here and possibly win the fight, but I just feel that with Makhachev here, man, he's just on a different level here, man. I feel like he's gonna eventually take down Volkanovski and submit him. That's basically it. Yeah, the striking gonna happen, they're gonna exchange, and eventually he's gonna take him down, he's gonna sub him. So I got Islam Makhachev by submission, guys, in the third round. All right, so that's my prediction breakdown there. Let's quick look at the odds so we're working with. See some crazy odds. One look at the odds and they just look totally crazy. Crazy odds. Okay, that's my 80s singing there, guys. My little debut of my 80s singing. Yeah. All right, we got Elise Reed, Loma. Oh my goodness, Loma is high as hell. Be careful, dudes. Be careful with that one, me dudes. Loma too high, man. Because I said Elise Reed could win, but Loma at negative 330. She has the skills to win, and she can win, but not at 330 though. Be very freaking careful. I have her winning, but be careful with this fight. Dan Shainis and Jack Jenkins. Damn. They got Jack Jenkins high as hell. Yikes. Dan Shainis winning. He's massive, big underdog here. But I just like what I see from Dan Shainis. That's basically it. But Jack Jenkins is negative something. I'm going for Dan Shainis. So I mean, that's just it. Like I said, guys, I'm not confident with this card. So only one or two fights I'm confident in. So I mean, play at your own risk, man. But I'm liking Dan here though. But like I said, I wasn't confident in the fight in this pick. 50-50. So play at your own risk. Jimmy Mullarkey and Francisco. I'm liking Jimmy Mullarkey 275. I don't disagree. I feel Jimmy Mullarkey should win this fight. That's my confident play. Shannon Ross and Kleydson Rodrigues. Damn, Rodrigues is 345. He's high. I have Rodrigues winning, but I wouldn't put him so high. Like I told you, he's very explosive and he will gas out. And Ross can pace himself. He could win. Be very careful with this one here, guys. I have Rodrigues, but be careful. Joshua and Melzik, perfect. Even fight. I do not disagree because I have Joshua winning. And like I said, with Melzik, he could win too. It's 50-50, but I like Joshua. Modesto and Pedro. Pedro 200 and something. I disagree with that one. I have Modesto. If it's anything, this fight should be an even fight. Should be an even fight, man. Both guys came off of knee problems. It's just one of those fights where Tyson Pedro, the guys he fought, it's just hard to gauge him. And with Modesto, he fought tougher competition over there in Cage Warriors. You know, I mean, he came back quicker than Tyson did from his knee surgery. That showed a little more mental. I'm liking Modesto, but it's 50-50. But again, play at your own risk. Jimmy Crout and Alonzo. We got Alonzo's underdog. Jimmy. I mean, a lot of these guys are from Australia, or around that region. I'm liking Alonzo here. Like I said, Crout could win. You know, like I said, two guys, Pedro could win, but these fights here, I'm 50-50. And you know what I'm saying? So play at your own risk. I'm liking Alonzo though. Justin Tafa, Parker Porter. Kind of close to even fight. They got They got Porter as a small little underdog there. I'm liking Porter though, but play at your own risk. Like I said, these guys are favorite or hometown or they fight around that region. Okay. Randy Brown, Jack Della. Damn, I got Della's high as hell, dude. I mean, the guy is good. He's a good prospect. Don't get me wrong, man. But when you break down the fight and you see Randy Brown, and you break down Randy Brown, you know, it all depends on the matchup, man. and that reach advantage from Randy Brown. If he uses it the way how he used it in his last 3 fights, Jack gonna have problem. Jack gonna be missing. But yeah, I feel Jack is kind of too high. I feel it's a more closer fight here, and I have Randy Brown, man. Damn, I got a lot of underdogs coming in. I must be doing something right though, because most of the time it's the underdogs that are hitting, man. It's not the favorites that are winning. It's underdogs on a lot of cards, and on some cards favorites do hit, but it's mostly underdogs, man. But liking Randy though, guys. Play at your own risk. Josh Emmett Rodrigues, Danica Rodrigues at 190. Nah, man. I think the odds in here are kind of jacked up, guys. The odds are looking kind of nuts. Like the Tyson odds here, Jimmy Crow, the Randy Brown, and the Yari. These odds are too ridiculous. These fights are very, very close. That's why I say 50-50, because it's kind of even. You know what I mean? There's no way that Jack is like 300 and something. That's bananas, man. And there's no way that freaking Tyson is this high either. And Kraut, especially Yair Rodriguez. Josh Emmett is a very good fighter. This card seems kind of strange here, guys, but I'm liking Josh Emmett here. So play at your own risk. Alexander Volkanovski and Islam, 300 and something. Actually, this one I don't disagree with. I feel Islam is a very dominant guy, man. He should win this fight. So, but the odds here are looking kind of high. They're favoriting the guys too high. Like Jack Jenkins and Lumas, they're giving these guys too high of a favorite, man. You know what I mean? Be very careful with this card, guys. Play at your own risk. But yeah, that's it right there. You guys check out my Patreon account for all of my face-off predictions and prop plays, which I went pretty good there the last time. And no, actually a lot of times I did pretty good on the Patreon. So if you sign up for that, you'll be able to play those plays and see the face-off predictions that I actually have, which I'm going to look at the face-off real quick. Also, you can subscribe again to my PayPal account. You just donate something, whatever. It could just be a little bit whatever. Can I help the channel out so I can spend more time doing this? All right, so that's it there, guys. You guys keep on kicking. One love out to everybody, and enjoy the fights, guys, and one love.